So today we're going to talk about measuring. So when it comes to measuring, a lot of the times the things that we create may not be exact to proportion or may just kind of come off just a little bit off and we may not know how to check it. So what I'm going to show you today is a very important tool when it comes to, or an important skill when it comes to drawing. So if you were to grab something from around the room, just, I don't know if you've ever taken a drawing class or not, but usually they have you do a lot of things called still life, or like they'll have you grab things and draw them. I'll show you what you're supposed to do, because a lot of the times teachers don't actually go through the process of how to measure to make sure it's correct. They just tell you to grab a pop can and draw it. If you don't know how to draw, then it's not going to look right. So if I were to grab this is a pencil sharpener from around the room. Now if I were to lay it here, and this is the thing I want to draw, and I want to draw it pretty close to scale. Let's say I don't know how to make sure that everything's right. If I want to draw it just as it is here, laying down, I could use my pencil to measure to make sure that it's the right size, that what I'm drawing is the right size. So if I were to measure from the tip of my pencil here and use my thumb to measure the bottom, like this, then I would be able to draw and match it. So if I know the tip of my pencil will be where the top of it is, and where my thumb is where the bottom, I could even I'll show you another way. Make this the bottom line and line my thumb up to where it is, and where the tip of my pencil is going to be the top of it. So where that measurement is, this should match. So I know that when I draw this thing, that the very tip of it is going to be right there, or line up with it. If I want to go back and say, okay, well, I kind of got an idea where it's going to be here and here. Now what about left and right? If I use the same concept and put the tip of the pencil to the widest part and my thumb here to the edge, then I know that the mark is there. So if I put my thumb here, it's going to be a little bit wider than what I actually drew. And just like that, I was able to make an on-the-spot correction with what I was drawing. And I can go back and erase the older line for the one that's more correct. And you can use this technique throughout the entire drawing. So if you wanted to measure, well, how far down is this portion before I get this band where the word is, I can do the same thing. Measure from the tip to my fingertip, and I do the same thing from here to here, and it's about right here. Then I do the same thing here. I can measure from the very bottom to this line, and I'd be able to make a mark right here. So I know the very bottom is there. There's this other line right here. Then I have this word. And I already made the other line there. And it's already starting to take shape. I can pick whatever part I wanted, if I wanted to write the Prismacolor on there, or if I wanted to put my own thing in there. I don't know if any of you have seen like movies or anything when it comes to the artists. They'll usually hold their pencil out like this and stick their tongue out and close one eye. That's pretty much exactly what they're doing, is they're measuring from their perspective. Because if these two things were further away from me, I'd be able to measure from the tip up to my thumb like this, and then go to mine and measure it to make sure it matched. But you have to close the eye that is not near it. So if I'm using my right hand, I close my left eye and use my right eye to line up to make sure it's proper. And this is essentially the same way that we could kind of check the shapes of the lights and shadows. So I'll get into more with shading later, but you would utilize the same concept to say, okay, well, this much of it is where the light is. So you start breaking it down into where there's smaller portions of this, where you're outlining the lights and the shadows. That way when you get ready to shade, it's a lot easier and almost like coloring a coloring book. And you can even go and add in the shadow, because you have a concept of sizing and proportion now of where you're going with it. So hopefully you like this video on measuring and perspective. I'll make more. Go ahead and feel free to check it out. Peace.